Hello. If you are searching Tesol, you have probably come across many terms. Tesol, TEFL, direct Tesol, online Tesol, blended Tesol, in-class Tesol, and you may be unsure which each one really means. Many people worry about choosing the wrong option, wasting time and money, or ending up with a certificate that employers don't really respect or need. In this video, even that it will be a bit long, and you can skip through the questions to go directly to what you are looking for, but I highly encourage you to listen and watch all. In this video, I will clearly explain what is Tesol, how Tesol or how direct Tesol different from other course-based Tesol, also online Tesol, blended Tesol, and all different types and formats of Tesol certification, and how all connect to real job opportunities. The purpose of this video is clarity. By the end, you should be able to make an informed and confident decision. Tesol stands for Teaching English to Speakers of Other Languages, and TEFL, Teaching English as a Foreign Language, is identical, 99%. The only difference could be recognized by expert teachers. It's like iPhone users. The difference between iPhone 14 and 15 is subtle for us who have never used iPhone. But for hardcore iPhone users, they can distinguish between it. However, in this video, anything that I'm going to talk about applies for both. If there are any differences, I'll be explaining them. So as I said, Tesol stands for Teaching English to Speakers of Other Languages. Teaching English to those who don't speak English. And it is not their native language, not L1. The Tesol certificate is a teacher training qualification. It certifies that the holder has been trained and in some cases formally assessed in the core competencies that are required to teach English to non-native speakers. A standard Tesol qualification covers teaching methodologies, lesson planning, classroom management, language awareness, student assessment. However, Tesol is not a job and it does not guarantee employment. Instead, it demonstrates professional readiness to teach English. Before comparing different Tesol options, one distinction must be made and must be clear. When people talk about types of Tesol, they are usually mixing two different things. How certificate is awarded and how training is delivered. Understanding the difference is essential in avoiding confusion. Let's start with the easy one, direct Tesol, assessment-based certification. Direct Tesol is not simply a course format, no. Direct Tesol is an assessment-based certification. So the certificate is awarded based on assessment, not based on a course that have been done. In direct Tesol, candidates are formally assessed, teaching skills are evaluated, and certification is awarded based on that performance. That means you do not receive a certificate simply for completing a content. You receive it after demonstrating competence in teaching English that against different criteria and standards. So in short, it's like an IELTS exam or level certification exam. You study, for example, for the IELTS for 6 or 7 months. However, the IELTS course, you may receive certificate saying that you finished the course of IELTS or course of B1. But the other certificate, when the organizers or the required party or the responsible party assess your skill, will give you a certificate to prove that you know English or you have that level in English. The same for direct Tesol. You do not train, you do not take a course. You will be assessed. Now, if you are interested in direct Tesol, most assessment goes like this. You prove your English skill, so an accredited certificate, mostly B1 and more. International jobs require C1, but there are some opportunities where you can work with B1. After you prove your level with a B1 with accredited certificate, you need to do two things. Demonstrate your knowledge in lesson planning and your skill in teaching. So you make a lesson plan between 15 to 20 minutes of a lesson of 15 to 20 minutes, regardless of the aim and the objective of the lesson, regardless of the format and layout, because teaching is an art, it's not exact science. So the lesson plan format can differ from one person to another, as long as it respects the major things. This lesson plan will be accompanied with a video of you teaching. You can teach inside the classroom, You can teach online, or you can teach by speaking to the camera. As long as the video demonstrates that lesson plan and your teaching skills, how you progress the activities, how you showcase your ability to manage the classroom. At the end, those three documents, the certificate of English proficiency, the lesson plan, and the demo lesson, they will be assessed against criteria of Tesol, and then you will be awarded the certificate. It's not less important or less significant than any other certificate. It's exactly the same. The only difference is that this certificate showcases that you already know how to teach. You just need the license. It's like someone taking driving lesson courses or driving courses and someone taking the driving test directly. Both will end up with a certificate, with a license to drive a car. The police officer will not ask, have you attended the course or not, as long as you have the license. The same for TESOL. The employers, they will not ask whether you took a training, whether it's online or in class. They ask for the certificate, whether it is accredited or not. However, bear in mind, in the certificate, it showcases the things that you've been assessed to, not just a certificate, but includes what are the criteria, like, let's say, feedback, classroom management, lesson planning, appropriate aim, adaptive materials, and so many things that we can see later on. This is regarding the direct TESOL. Now, course-based TESOL, completion-based. So other TESOL pathways are course-based, training-based. In the course-based TESOL, you will complete the training modules, you will submit assignments, you may complete teaching practice. Certification is awarded after successfully completing this requirement. After the successful completion of these requirements, these courses can still be valuable, especially when they include meaningful practice and feedback. The only difference between them and the previous one, which is direct TESOL, is that you will study, you will take a course, you will learn, then you will be assessed. In the direct TESOL, you already studied on your own, or you already possess the skill, and then you will be assessed. Now, before explaining further the types of TESOL, online TESOL, blended TESOL, in-class TESOL, self-study TESOL, we need to set the ground for main things. The training course consists of two parts. So the first part is the theory, okay? The knowledge, the modules, the lessons. And the second part is the practice, the demonstration of the real skill. The first part, you study theories, methodologies, how to make a lesson. You may make a lesson plan. You may theoretically speak about teaching. The second part, you actually teach. In all types of TESOL, the most accredited certificate is the one that have actual practice. The certificate that have only theory, they may not be that valuable, okay? And they may not be that respected worldwide. All certificates must include the second part, which is the practice. Now, let's talk about the online TESOL or self-study TESOL. The terms are not really interchanged, to be honest with you. So self-study TESOL, it means that you study on your own the modules. For example, methodologies, how language has been taught throughout the ages. So you study the methodologies on your own. You study how to make a lesson plan on your own. It consists mostly on books, articles, and video lessons where you follow and complete. This self-study always accompanied with quizzes, essays, and reflections. You can go to our YouTube channel and see how others are reflecting on the self-study. You'll find people reflecting on certain module, which is actually an assignment for them. You'll find people answering quizzes, and you'll be familiar with the self-study TESOL. That covers the theoretical part. Also, in online TESOL or self-study TESOL, there is the practice section, as I said, and it must be there. The practice section, you come to the classroom with the trainers, and then you actually demonstrate your teaching skill. And later on, we are going to talk in depth about what's going on the teaching practice. However, self-study TESOL is suited for those, for example, who need flexibility. If you want to study on your own, you are already working, and TESOL is on your career path, but it's not now. If you want to plan to teach online on your own, so it's good to get familiar with the teaching modules and tools. if you already have some experience and you just want to refresh it before moving into the practice section. Employees' acceptance depends on the course quality and the job event and the job context itself. However, during my humble experience with the self-study TESOL, most employees really don't matter about whether you study the theory on your own or in class, as long as there is a practice. And they focus on the practice, which we will talk about later on in detail. So, by now, you are familiar with the TESOL and self-study TESOL and so on. Now let's talk about in-class TESOL. The in-class TESOL is not different from self-study TESOL. Both share a practice section. But the theory, in-class TESOL, you will study the theory inside the classroom. Okay? It's delivered face-to-face with the trainer in a physical classroom. It usually includes live instructions, peer teaching, supervised teaching practice. So every module of every theory will be assessed or kind of discussed in the classroom, and with activities and tasks that are hands-on tasks. All right? And it's suitable for those who have short time, because it takes mostly 10 to 15 days or 20 days to finish. It includes also, as I said, peer teaching, live instructions, immediate feedback, which is good. It's often preferred for beginners who want a strong classroom qualification and confidence. All right. If you haven't taught before, if this is the first time you will be teaching, if you are not really that confident, in-class is suitable for you. However, it tends to be expensive and it tends to be a bit heavy, as you will be spending 10 to 15 days studying an intense course without prior knowledge. The other part is blended TESOL. Now, it's unlike the self-study. It's online, but you don't study on your own. You will meet the teachers and the trainers live, face-to-face, online, in virtual classrooms, where you are going to discuss the theories, you are going to discuss the methodologies, you are going to learn. So everything that you will learn inside the classroom from the full class TESOL, and everything you are going to learn from the self-study TESOL, it will be online. So it combines the modules and the theories and the knowledge from self-study, as well as the online open discussion and feedback, immediate feedback from the in-class, and meet them in one virtual classroom, where you are at the comfort of your home, acquiring the knowledge needed to complete this course and become certified. It's suited for those who cannot really rely on themselves and they get lazy. Most of us attended or enrolled in online course that we didn't finish because there isn't immediate feedback. Also, personally, there isn't someone who will push you. The deadlines are very flexible. For the self-study, you can finish whenever possible. So it's suited for those who want someone to observe them, someone who to supervise them, someone who will push them and fix the deadline. Unlike the in-class TESOL, which is limited, let's say a training of 15 days, there is no way you can skip a day or two. Okay, you need to finish everything in 15 days. And unlike the self-study TESOL, where you can finish whenever possible, talking about the theoretical part only, the blended TESOL on the online TESOL, you need to finish in a certain amount of time. You have a module to finish within 1 or 2 weeks, and then a session to attend, feedback, assignments, reflections, videos, essays, and everything. However, it's suited because it gives you comfort from your home studying the theories and the theoretical part, as well as flexibility not to finish and not to be rushed. It's suited also for those who want feedback, who want discussion, who want analysis with the teacher and the trainer and peers, and don't really want to be intensive and feel the overwhelming density of the course itself and the modules themselves. So how employees generally evaluate TESOL? Well, most employees they don't really look just for the word TESOL. They look at whether skills were assessed, whether teaching practice was included, whether actually you taught, and the candidate's communication and professionalism. For this reason, all TESOL, self-study, online, blended, must include the practice. And for this reason, online TESOL without practice are not really favored by others. Now, let's dive deeper into the practice. Now, talking about the practice part of TESOL, whether you studied online with the trainer, whether you studied on your own self-study, whether you studied in the class. When the theory ends, you move to the practice. Now the practice, most TESOL practice goes like this. You prepare a lesson plan. you teach, you will be assessed on two things, on the lesson plan itself and on the performance. You will receive feedback from the trainer, and you do it again and again and again. And each time there are two things. The assessment, whether you pass or fail, whether you pass with grade A, B, C. And the second thing is the help. According to our training and what we used to do, for example, most teachers teach between 6 to 10 sessions. Now, the first session, they are given the book, the aim, the pages, everything. All they need to do is to change these into a lesson plan and demonstrate their skills. During the session, they are observed by trainers. Everything is assessed. After the session ends, they meet with the trainers for a feedback session. They talk, they communicate, they exchange ideas. What went right? What went wrong? What would be changed next time? And then they will be given evaluation, whether they pass or fail. The second session they teach, the help is kind of reduced a bit. They don't get everything. They get only the book, maybe the unit. And they need themselves to understand what is the suitable lesson for the group. They need to demonstrate that they can understand how books are made, how learners learn English, and what's the suitable lesson for this group. And again, they teach, they will be observed at the end of the session, feedback session, what went right, what went wrong, and pass or fail. The third time they teach, they are given only the book without the unit. So they need to understand, they need to analyze the learners, their skills, everything. So they can pick the right lesson, the right page, and they make the lesson plan. They teach, they are observed, then feedback session, pass or fail. During the feedback session, the help, as you have noticed, it starts to decrease. So by this fourth or the fifth session, the actual practice and teaching, there is no help from the trainers. The trainers are there only to judge, evaluate, and assess. By the seventh session, everything on their own. You will be given a group with a portfolio of the group, a profile of the class, and everything is up to you. Choose the book, the unit, the lesson, the aim, the materials, everything. And you will be assessed whether pass or fail. And every feedback session is really helpful because you know what you did right, what you did wrong, what you need to change. Most people find it very beneficial because this actually how teaching in real life work. You teach, friends, your colleague is your mirror, they help you improve. Now the next question is, which TESOL option is right for you? To be honest, there is no single best TESOL option. The right choice depends on your goals. If you want format validation of teaching ability, go to direct TESOL. If you've already been teaching for a year or two, or if you know how to make a lesson plan, if you want to save money and time, directly ask for direct TESOL and get assessed. If you need maximum flexibility, go for the self-study. You study the modules on your own, and then you practice. If you want strong classroom experience, go for the in-class TESOL. It's intensive, but it's 100% in-class. If you want to balance between flexibility and credibility, the best option is blended TESOL. The most important factor is alignment between training and career plans. They are all valid as long as they include the practice section, the practice part. As long as any TESOL includes actually practice and actually teaching is valid and credible. Now it's up to you. For self-study, I recommend for those who still working or they have other things to do and they just want to go slow, as long as they can stay motivated, they can support themselves, they can actually be disciplined, not to let go. If you are not that type of person, move to the next option, which is the blended. If you want some flexibility, you want to study on your own for a module of 1 week, you'll be given 2 or 3 weeks to study and prepare, then an online session. So there is some flexibility of the time, but it's still there is discipline. There is a deadline to respect. Go for the blended TESOL. If you want to go in full hands-on, in-class teaching, in-class learning, go for the in-class TESOL. However, after the pandemic, many schools and many universities and many institutions realized that the theory can be done online, which is really best and suits for everyone. And it did not affect the credibility and validity of the certificate, no matter what. And if you want to know more, or if you have more questions, you can contact us and we can guide you. Still, the video still have some other information to share. Continue watching. All right. Now, Tesol job abroad and careers path. In your business school Tesol certification program, because we have friendship and agencies across the world, we support and we provide support for those who wants to work abroad. The good thing is, of course, agencies are paid to get you the job that you want. However, those payments are actually reduced due to our partnership, as well as we try to cut them from your Tesol training. So we do our best to support you and help you throughout with any agency, as we keep growing. Now, regarding most people who graduate from Tesol certification after completing Tesol, no matter what's the type, graduates typically go on several paths. Online teaching platforms, one-to-one group, one-to-one or group classes, flexible schedule when you find so many, and you can find so many schools international that they want Tesol qualified teachers. Language schools, you can, most graduates apply to language schools, start teaching kids and then moving up to adults and young learners, and from level beginners to up to proficient, which really help them emphasize their skill and build their CV and experience. Private teaching, freelancer teaching, or teaching as a cover teacher across the world. International teaching opportunities often require a few things. Requires, as I've mentioned, they require certificate in English, for example, B1 or C1. They require Tesol certification, as well as they require some demo lessons. Here at your business school Tesol certification program, we prepare you before graduate. Before you graduate, we'll build your CV, we'll record your demo lessons, as well as we provide you with accredited certificate, whether B1, C1, depending on your level. Now, there are some misconceptions out there that online Tesol is not valid, which is wrong. Self-study Tesol is not really accredited, which is wrong. The most important thing to look for in any Tesol training is the practice section. If they actually provide you with a trainer to observe and give you feedback, if they actually provide you with learners to practice everything there, so the Tesol is valid and credible, as long as also the institute is accredited and legit, okay? Tesol is a foundation. What you build on it matters. A well-chosen Tesol pathway develops confidence, competencies, and credibility. A rushed or poorly understood decision often leads to tiredness and frustration. If you'd like guidance in choosing the right Tesol pathway for you, or the best match for your goals, feel free to contact us, whether on our email or our channel or throughout social media platforms and accounts. Thank you for watching. I hope this explanation has brought you clarity.